Who's here? 192 people. I have a little bit of truth serum, and I'm feeling very calm. So I feel like this foot longer was meant to happen. Or no, this isn't a foot longer. This is a Twitcam. Baxter wants to say hi first before we start. Say hi, Baxter. He wants to go. Who's here? We're going to talk about your ex-father. One of them. There's a lot of them. I don't see any of y'all's chats yet, so as soon as I see it, then I'll start talking. Love you. Love you so much. I'm actually really interested to hear what y'all have to say before I even say anything, because sometimes I feel a little crazy, which I am. But yeah, I would love to see some of y'all write anything, but I don't see anything yet. Is anyone there? It says 225 viewers, but I don't see any. I'm going to write a chat. Who is up in this Twitcam joint? Ooh, I'm getting lots of texts. People are not wanting me to do this right now. People are not wanting me to do this right now. Let's see if this is working, because I don't see it. I don't see how it's working. Oh, it's okay. Here we go. A couple of people. Okay. More dog hair. Who's ready? Who's ready for Amanda? Is McCrae insecure about his lack of money and career and taking it out on you? I don't think so. That's not the issue. I am not sure. Am I freezing on people? Because I don't want to talk if I'm freezing on people. Hey guys. Oh, I'm so happy that you guys are all here. I haven't done this in so long. And Bax is here too. He's sitting on my lap. He's chilling. Hello, Clarice. Hi, Scott. Am I freezing on people? Not freezing. Okay. I just had a little mini meltdown. You guys all know what happened. McCrae posted the letter. So I feel like I have a lot. I found, let's start from the beginning. I feel like I have a lot on my chest that's weighing on me that I'm supposed to be. I am freezing and glitching. I don't want to talk if I'm freezing and glitching. I want to not be freezing and glitching. Are you sure it's not you, Insider? Other people tell me if I'm freezing or not, because I don't want to talk if I'm freezing. I already fed you. Stop licking me like I haven't done that yet. Okay. E-N-O Evian. Why is McCrae being so cruel? Why can't he be friendly post-breakup? Okay. Let's start from the beginning. So, after the show, I was literally completely oblivious to any of the stuff with McCrae's ex-girlfriend, Jessica. On the show, I know he had made references to her, but he had disclosed to me that they were just, he had known her since childhood, and they were just friends, and he missed her as a friend, and she was crazy as a girlfriend, and she was a bitch, and whatever else. So I thought that he felt about me the same way that I felt about him. And okay, so the show ends, and for a while things were really good. And I went to Minnesota. We had like a week apart. It was 12 days, and then he came here, and he came on my family vacation, and slowly but surely things started to go sour. I'm not really sure why. Actually, I know why. It's because, you know, I'm the type of person that I need to be with somebody who gets up every morning, goes into work, because my significant other, you know, if they work really hard, then I work really hard. And it's hard for me because I loved him so much. If he was like laying in bed and sleeping in, like I wanted to do the same thing. And I potentially could because I'm a real estate agent. I work for myself. So I set my alarm every morning. I get up and I go to work. I make myself work, um, and he wasn't doing that, and I was sort of nudging him and like pestering him to like get a job, and I wanted him to be happy here and whatever else. And what happened is um, I went to New York when I went to New York for and I saw Gina Marie. And I after I came home, literally on the car ride home, McCrae had told me that he started talking to his ex-girlfriend. And we were like, he was living in my house. So he had told me, like, this is what happened. The therapist from the show, I thought that McCrae already shown a lot of signs of like depression. So I contacted the therapist from the show, and I was like, I think McCrae's having a difficult time adjusting to the real world, and it's like that sparkle in his eye that he had on the show. It's like it's not there anymore, and I really want him to be happy. He's so sad. Like you, like could you speak with him? Because they had offered me therapy after the show because of how crazy I went towards the end of the show. And so I reached out to her, and on the car ride home, he told me that he spoke to the doctor, and she told him that there's a possibility that maybe he's still in love with his ex-girlfriend. I think McCrae took that as, I'm still in love with my ex-girlfriend, and that will make me happy, since he seemed so unhappy. He seemed unhappy in our relationship. Like he did. Like when we were out of the house towards the end. Like I desperately was trying to figure out why he was so unhappy, and I just wanted him to have that spark in his eye again because I loved him. So um okay, so he picked me up from the airport, and he told me that he started talking to his ex-girlfriend again, and I was like, okay, like as just like a friend. And he's like, yeah, just a friend and whatever else. And a couple nights later, we were drinking, and he had been drinking every single night, a lot. It was an issue. And um and I knew something was up. It made me extremely uncomfortable that he was speaking with her. And especially because like when you get out off the show, like everybody points everything out to you, like, oh, McCrae wore this shirt because she went to that college, and McCrae was talking about her to Andy, and like with all of those things, all of those clear things, I just like was in denial about it. I was like, yeah, they're just friends, and because I believed him, like I thought that, like I mean, I loved him. So um anyways, we got drunk one night, went home, and he left his email up. And I am crazy. So I go into his email, and I find that letter that he posted on Twitter he sent to her, amongst other things. Like when he went to Minnesota, like he was trying to meet up with her, and he had told me he hadn't spoken to her whatsoever. And the only thing that he told me was that he said, "I'm sorry" to her after the show. And she said back to him, "I never want to speak to you again." And that's the only communication that he told me. And so I found that letter, and it was devastating. Like, at this point, we lived together. We were together since day 3 of the show, and it had been like 6 or 7 months, and it was always real for me. Like, it was never fake whatsoever. And we were still in a relationship, and I found a letter, a love email that he wrote to her, basically saying that the biggest mistake he ever did was leave her. And I mean, you guys can see the letters on his Twitter, and go on Big Brother, and everything was fake, and with me it was fake. And um and I confronted him about it, and he was drunk and I was drunk, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And he said nothing. And it was torrential downpour, and he was in my house, and he left my house. He just walked out, and it was like literally monsooning. There was a flash flood warning, and he left. And after a couple hours, and he left his phone here too. So I call Jessica, and I was like, "This is what just happened. Like, what is going on? Like, what do you guys, like, what's happening? Like, we're still together. He lives under my roof." And she's like, "He told me that you guys weren't together anymore." And I told her, I was like, "We are still together." Like, this is news to me. Like, we're still in a relationship. Like, I don't know what he's telling you, but it's a lie, because, or at least, like, I thought that we were still in a relationship together. Like, I thought that we were still, you know, I mean, he's still living in my house. So he left, and it was at night, and I didn't know where he was. And I had his phone, and I get this text to my phone from this random number, like, "Where did you go?" Like, a couple hours, and that was like 12 o'clock at night. I was like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "He left. He doesn't have his phone. Like, he was drunk." Like I, after finding that letter, like, I was worried about him. Like, because I knew that he was out there and drunk, and this person calls his phone, and I was like, "Where is he?" And this person answers. They're like, um, "We found him. Like, he was walking on the side of the road in torrential downpour, and he said that he was homeless. He was carrying a box of wine, and that he was looking for acid and whatever else." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So it's 12:30, and there's a flash flood warning outside, and I take my car, and I'm scared to death. So I go to look for him. Like, even after I found this letter, even after the damage that he's done, I still don't want him hurt. Like, I love him. So I go out, and I'm driving, and I see cars stuck in the road because I live 2 blocks from the ocean, and the roads were flooding, and my car had gotten, like, quickly stuck, and then I had gotten out of it, and I'm, like, looking on the sides of the road, like, looking for him. And then I stop at a fire station, and I'm like, I'm looking for my boyfriend. He left. He doesn't have a phone. Like, he doesn't know how to get back to my house. And the fire station was like, "You need to go home, because your car, we've had to already get like 4 cars out of the street, and your car is going to flood and be totaled, and you need to go home." So now it's like 2 in the morning, and McCrae is out somewhere drunk, and I'm texting his sister, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm texting Jessica, his ex-girlfriend. I was like, "He's gone." And Jessica was like, "Oh, he's done this before. Like, this is normal." And I'm like, I mean, now looking back, I could see, like, he did something wrong, and he's like trying to, like, he was like, "I'm gonna, hurt myself," and whatever else, like, victimizing himself after he did something to me. And so I get a call from his parents or from his mom at like 9 o'clock in the morning, like McCrae is here. Like he was walking in the wrong direction because he didn't know like where he was, and he was so drunk. She was like, "Will you get him?" And I was like, "Yeah." So early in the morning, after not sleeping all night because I didn't know where he was, I go to this place and he's sitting on a bench, like hunched over like a homeless person, and he has the bag, like the inside bag of like a boxed wine with him. And I was like, "Get in the car." And they take the bag from him. He's like, "That's my wine." And I'm like, and he's still fucked up. He was still drunk. And I was like, "Just get in the car, McCrae." He was soaking wet because like literally the water must have been like up to his waist. And like at that moment, like I didn't, like I felt like like it was taken away from me. Like what he had done was taken away from me and brought to him because he victimized himself, that he was this like poor, like sad person sitting on a bench soaking wet, looking so lost, like I felt bad for him, where I felt like, I mean, for me, like I wasn't even thinking about myself at this point. I was thinking about him, and I was worried about him. So he walks in my house, he's soaking wet, take all of his clothes, and I put it in the wash, and he goes straight upstairs and he sleeps because he obviously hadn't slept the entire night. And the next morning, like, or not the next morning, like he slept the entire day, and then and I was gone. Like I went into my office, I was like, I need to focus on myself. And then the next that night, when he was finally like back to normal and not fucked up anymore, he told me about his night and how he ran into some heroin addicts, and he was hanging out with them for the night, and like he didn't do any drugs, but he gave them money. It was just so, it was so like it was just crazy. And I was like, "How about that letter that you wrote? Like, did you mean that?" And he was like, "I was drunk when I wrote it." And I was like, "That's that was a really long letter." Like I think the thing that like struck me the hardest was that like that he like it just seemed like he had like none of it was real. I think that was the hardest because it was really real for me. So um and he said that, so he said he was drunk, and he even texted his ex-girlfriend in front of me. He's like, "I was drunk." And I think he was having a rough time that day because he had just found out that his aunt had passed. So a part of me felt sympathetic for him because his aunt had passed, and it completely really overshadowed my pain that I had gone through at that moment. So honestly, like very shortly after, literally, I think it was like a day or two after, he went to Minnesota for his aunt's funeral. And I was like, "How are you? How is everything with you?" And he's like, "I'm sad and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "I understand." And I asked him, I was like, "Are you still talking to her? Like, I'm not okay with that. Like, do you want to be with me?" And he's like, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I'm not talking to her." He told me multiple times that he's not talking to her, not talking to her. Every day when I used to talk to him, he told me that he wasn't talking to her. And very soon before he came back to Florida, like he I guess Travis came. I don't know, like he was gonna drive his car back, and Travis had decided that he wanted to move back with McCrae, which is McCrae's really good friend, and he still told me he was not talking to her, not talking to her. And then like right before, like a couple days before, like McCrae started getting really flirtatious and sexual and whatever, however, like a boyfriend would be, and just saying like how he misses me and misses our intimacy and all that jazz. And I mean, this is where I failed because I loved him so much that when he said he was just drunk and it was stupid and he felt bad that what he did to his ex-girlfriend, like I was like, okay, maybe he was drunk, like maybe um you know whatever. So anyway, so he's like literally driving back. He's like, I can't wait for the moment that I see you, like I'm gonna ravage you and whatever else. So he literally comes back, and like a couple hours after, like I bring him his stuff that he left at my house to his new place, and we are intimate like the entire night, and we're just like talking and cuddling and just like you know fucking. And um, he told me that he wasn't speaking to her anymore. So then we go out into the main room, and we're sitting and we're watching TV, and I hear this like buzz, and I'm like, I think your phone is buzzing. And he's like, no, no, it's not me. And then I look up my phone. I was like, it's not my phone. It's your phone. And then I noticed that his phone is plugged into his laptop, like charging, and then the other side of the phone is in his pocket. So his phone was charging, and this is, mind you, 2.5 months ago, so it's pretty fresh. His phone is charging in his pocket, and I was like, and it's ringing, and I'm like, why aren't you checking your phone? He's like, oh, I'll check it later. I'm like, that's really shady. Who is texting you? And he's like, no one. It's no one. I'm like, McCrae, who, like, stop being so shady. Who the fuck is texting you? And he's like, it's no one. And like literally we were arguing about none of your business and blah blah blah. I'm like, what the fuck? And then finally after a couple minutes he's like, it's my ex. That was the night that I posted that he and I had ended things. Not the night that I found that letter, because I still think a part of me wanted to believe that like he still loved me the way that I like loved him. But at that point, like I was done with the lies. Like, how many times are you gonna lie and say that you're not speaking to this person? And like I had to find out like after an entire night that we had spent together, like emotionally, physically, um so I like that was the last time I saw him, when he had told me that that was his ex-girlfriend, that he was talking to her. I literally asked him every single day when he was gone, are you still talking to her? Are you still talking to her? Because I needed to know like that was done. Like he like made me feel that that was done, and then he lied. Like he was talking to her the entire time that he was in Minnesota. So yeah, so that was I was like, I was done that night. That night, I was like, I sit there and I look on Twitter and I see people asking if you and I are still together, and I don't answer because a part of me like still hoped that it would be real. So, and that like was so like stupid was that um even after all of that, like, even after knowing he still spoke to her, I still wanted to have a friendship. I was still like reaching out and like, like we could still be friends, like we could still hang out, but I feel like a part of him like really resented me because of how he played his game. I think a part of him resents me because of however our relationship affected his past relationship with that other girl. And I tried really hard to be friends with him. I really wanted a friendship with him because overall, like I knew that McCrae and I as a couple, we weren't compatible, but like that's not what made me fall in love with him. What made me fall in love with him was like the day we were shooting the bathing suit like photo shoot, and I was just joking around and like making like inappropriate jokes, and like no one got it, and I look over and he got it, like he got me, and we just had that moment that like he was like my best friend right there, and that's I don't miss McCrae as like a boyfriend. I miss him as a friend, and I feel like he's just like not even the same person anymore. So, anyways, truth serum. So, anyways, I knew about that letter for a long time. It wasn't something that I wanted to share with everybody because it was sort of embarrassing, really hurtful, and I didn't want the world to see. So, literally for the past couple of months, I was like being pathetic. I was like, let's be friends and like let's hang out, like let's do this. Like he once met me when I wrote like McCranda Beach Day, like he met me and my friends for literally 10 seconds and then left, and like I told him like where to go out, and like he lives 20 minutes away from me and I haven't seen this person in 3 months. So, so recently when his sister was in town, I texted him because he had to work during the day, and I said, um, if you have to work during the day, like I could take your sister to the beach or, do something with her. And then like he got nasty, like he always got nasty. And I was like, if you're not happy here, McCrae, like, and you want to be with your ex-girlfriend in Minnesota, then why don't you go to Minnesota? Like leave Florida, go to Minnesota. And that's what the whole leave Florida thing was about. It was never like leave Florida, I'm gonna get the mafia on you. It was like, you're not happy here. Like I want you to be happy. Go there. And then he puts everything on like social media, and then he put the letter on social media. Did McCrae get fired? I just gotta text him if he got fired. And then he's heading back. He's leaving. I just texted his boss right now. So McCrae's moving back to Minnesota. Oh, is it an April Fool's joke? Thank you. That would just be too good to be true. Apparently, it's an bad April Fool's joke. So, anyways, that was me being a trash bag telling him to leave Florida, which he's not. And I just wanted to be friends. I never outed any of this, and all of this stuff that I'm telling you now happened months ago. The letter that he posted, he's right. I did say to him, like when he called me a trash bag, I texted him, fuck you, I'm telling everyone everything, and yada, yada, yada. And then and and then uh, he responded like something just like he wants to be mad at me, and I get it, and he's expressed his side and how he's allowed to be mad now, but honestly, I don't think that he's allowed to be mad. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I've tried to understand. I've asked him a whole bunch of times about it, and Alyssa Riley Slater is calling me, and that's the end of the story. Love you guys. Hey,
Hey.
how are you?
Good. Just finally relaxing. I'm just so I was so over last week, and this week I'm like it's gonna be a good week no matter what. So I'm trying to relax and just like take it easy, but I'm trying to find a new car now, and it's such a pain in the butt.
Didn't you have like a Beamer SUV or something?
No, I had a Chevrolet at the Equinox. So I had before I had my Equinox, I had the Audi A4. So
That's what I
I
have.
huh?
That's what I have.
You have the A4?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Well, after I had that car, I swore I was never getting a luxury car ever again because I felt like the maintenance was so insane on it. Like my oil changes were like $60, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, they're insane.
And I had the turbocharged, so I felt like it was a nightmare. But so then I got my Equinox, and I loved it because it was just really easy and really low maintenance, and it was fully loaded, and it always like looked good because anytime anything happened on it, it was just so
Easy.
cheap to fix. Like any problem with it was under $200, and
Yeah.
any problem with my Audi was like over
So
500.
expensive. I'm getting rid of my Audi once my warranty is up.
Yeah. So I don't know. I can't see you.
Oh, hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, so I'm trying to decide. I'm either gonna get a Range Rover